So, a warm welcome to all the viewers for the course Advanced Manufacturing Technology, AME 702. So, today, as we are going to cover up the rest of the portion of ultrasonic machining, as in the first lecture of ultrasonic machining, we have already discussed about the introduction, what is the working principle of ultrasonic machining, and you are aware of the entire process also. You know what is the setup that are consisting in the ultrasonic machining setup, and we are having a little bit knowledge about the mechanism of material removal rate from the work surface. So today in the second lecture of ultrasonic machining, we are going to study about the various process parameters that are affecting the material removal rate for the workpiece. What are the parameters? What are the equipments? We'll be elaborately studying about that portion too. As well as we are going to study about what are the application, where it is used, this particular process. Also we are going to study about the MC-SAO model also, which is beyond your course curriculum. And then at last we are going to have a brief practice about the quiz also. So come on, let's have a look to the process of material removal of ultrasonic machining. So as we have already discussed in the fifth lecture about the mechanism of material removal, but still I would like to have a summarization about the mechanism of material removal in USM and its modeling. As has been mentioned earlier, USM is generally used for machining brittle workpiece material, and the material removal primarily occurs due to the indentation of the hard abrasive grate on the brittle work material. As the total vibrates, it leads to the indentation of the abrasive grate. During indentation, due to Hertzian contact, stresses crack would develop just below the contact slide. Then, as the indentation progresses, the crack would propagate due to the increase in stress and ultimately lead to the brittle fracture of the work material under each individual interaction site between the abrasive grate and the workpiece. The tool material should be such that indentation by the abrasive grates does not lead to brittle failure. Thus, the tools are made of high, tough, strong and ductile materials like stainless steel and other ductile metallic alloy. Other than this brittle failure of the work material, due to indentation, some material removal may occur due to free-flowing impact of the abrasive against the work material and related solid-solid impact erosion, but it is estimated to be rather insignificant. Thus, in the current model, we have already discussed that material removal would be assumed to take place only due to impact of abrasive between tool and workpiece, followed by indentation and brittle fracture of the workpiece. Well, the model does consider the deformation of the tool. In the current model, all the abrasive are considered to be identical in shape and size. An abrasive particle is considered to be spherical, but with local spherical bubbles that we have already discussed in the previous lecture. And the abrasive particles are characterized by the average grate diameter. It is further assumed that the local spherical bubbles have a uniform diameter, which is related to the grate diameter. During the indentation by the abrasive grate into the workpiece and the tool, the local spherical bubbles bulge contact the surface and indentation process is characterized by the depth between the abrasive grid and the workpiece and the tool. As the indentation proceeds, the contact zone between the abrasive grid and workpiece is generated and they same grow up. Now the contact zone is circular in nature and it is characterized by its diameter. At full indentation, the indentation depth in the work material is also mentioned. Due to the indentation, as the work material is brittle fracture occurs, which leads to the hemical or you can say hemispherical fracture under the contact zone. Therefore, the material removal rate is calculated from this particular figure. Now we are going to have a brief discussion and analysis about the parameters, or you can say about the process parameter and their effect. So what are the process parameter? First is the amplitude of vibration. It varies from 15 to 50 micron meter. Second, frequency of vibration. It varies from 19 to 25 kilohertz. Next, feed force. It is related to tool dimension. Next is feed pressure. Next, abrasive size. That varies between 15 micron meter to 150 micron meter. Next is abrasive material. That is aluminum oxide, silicon carbide, boron silicon carbide and diamond. Next we are talking about flow strength of work material. Next, flow strength of the tool material. Next is the contact area of the tool. And last but not the least, that is the volume concentration of abrasive in water slurry. Now we are going to have a look for MRR versus frequency and amplitude. So you can see this is the MRR, this is the frequency. So theoretically you can see they are going in a very inclined manner, but actually you can see whenever you are increasing the frequency, the MRR is also getting increased. But if you have a look for MRR versus amplitude, you can see this is also getting day by day increased. So what we come to a conclusion from this particular figure, that is with an increase in frequency of the tool head, the material removal also getting increased because it is increasing proportionally. However, there is a slight variation in the MRR with frequency. When the amplitude of vibration increases, the MRR expected to get increased. Now let's have a look for the next slide. How MRR versus abrasive diameter and concentration is basically helping you. You can see this is the MRR, this is the diameter. You can see according to theoretically it is getting increased. But if you go actually after a certain point, after getting increased, it little bit get decreased. But if I talk about the MRR versus the concentration, that is the amount of concentration of abrasive, you can see basically it is getting increased for boron carbide also, for silicon carbide also. So what we can come to a conclusion from this two particular figure, that is MRR should always rise proportional with the main grain diameter, that I have already told you. And when the diameter D become too large, the crushing tendency also increases. Next, the concentration of the abrasive directly control the number of grain producing impact per cycle. So MRR is also proportional to this C 1/4. So after C raise 30%, MRR is not very fast going to increase. Now we will be discussing about MRR versus feed force. So what you can see is that feed force is there and MRR is also there. So theoretically it is getting increased. But if you go for actual It is getting increased up to some extent, then it is little bit getting decreased. So we can come to a conclusion from this particular figure, that is MRR increases with increasing feed force. But after a certain critical feed force, it decreases because the abrasive grain get crushed under the heavy load. So now we will have a look for USM that depends on the surface finish on grain size. You can see for tungsten carbide, the mean grain diameter, as you are getting increased, your average surface is also getting increased. For glass also you can see the curve is getting in a very popular manner, it is getting increased. Thus from this figure we can come to a conclusion, that is the surface finish is much more sensitive to grain size in case of glass, which is softer than tungsten carbide. Because in case of hard material, the size of the fragment dislodged through a brittle fracture does not depend much on the size of the impacting particle. Now in the next slide you can see, we are going to recap the entire mechanism in a summarized manner. So what we are talking? The mechanism of material removal. Obviously, it is a brittle fracture that is caused by impact of abrasive grain due to the tool vibrating at a very high frequency. Next, what is the medium we are using for ultrasonic machining? The one and only medium is the slurry. Next comes the abrasive. So what are the abrasive that we are selecting? That is boron carbide, silicon carbide, aluminum oxide, diamond. And basically the size of the abrasive varies from 100 to 800 grit size. Next we are talking about the vibration. As I have already told, vibration, that is frequency, it should be between 15 to 30 kilohertz. And amplitude, it should vary between 25 to 100 micron meter. Now we are talking about the tool. What type of material we should select? It should be obviously soft steel. And what are the MRR and tool wear rate? Obviously 1.5 for tungsten carbide workpiece and 100 for glass workpiece. What should be the gap that should be maintained between the tool and the workpiece? It should vary between 25 to 40 micron meter. Next, what are the critical parameters that we should consider for ultrasonic machining? Already you are aware of so many parameters, but right now we are going to summarize for critical parameters. So the critical parameters, the first thing that comes to the mind is the frequency. Next comes the amplitude. Next we are talking about the tool material. Next we are talking about grit size, abrasive material, feed force, slurry concentration, slurry viscosity. Now we are talking about the material application. That is over which material you are going to apply this particular USM process. So the answer is metals and alloy, and particularly it should be hard and it can be brittle. It can be semiconductor. It can be non-metals too, for example glass and ceramics. What are the shape of application you are going to use? That is round and irregular hole impression that can be performed by this particular process. Well, last but not the least, that is the limitation. As all of you know that under the non-traditional machining process, under the mechanical mechanism, the limitation of USM is one and only, that is it provides very low material removal rate. There is a lot of tool wear also occurring because it is having a function with the tool along with the workpiece that is performed in the presence of abrasive and slurry. So there is a tool wear, that is one of the disadvantages of this particular process. Next, talk about the depth of hole. As you know, when the impact load is much more, if it is not properly maintained, then the depth of the hole or penetration is much more high. Or you can talk about the indentation. And the cavity is small, or depth of hole cavity small, these all are occurring. Now we will have a various sample work that has been machined by USM. You can see this is the grooving that is done by USM. You can see this is the grooving. A complex detailing, it has been done over the ceramic. You can see this one by USM. And you can see these are the coin that is grooved by USM. So these are the various interesting sample work that has been performed by ultrasonic machining. This is the holes by using USM. You can see how small holes and so beautifully it has been done. You can see there is also a design that has been made over the material, you can see. And look here, this is a complex design that has been done by USM. It's really very versatile, the work that has been performed. So now we are going to discuss about the USM application, its capability, and it is the pros and conclusions. So what is the application? It is best suited for hard brittle material such as ceramics, carbides, glass, precious stone and hard steel. And what about other material? Yeah, as I've already told, hard and brittle material, it is very essential and it is best suited by USM to perform its machining. Next is capability. Now, when we are talking about the capability of ultrasonic machining, then I must say, with a very fine abrasive, you can obtain a tolerance of 0.0125 millimeter or better can be held. And the surface roughness varies between 0.2 to 1.6 micrometer. So you can see what are the good advantages and capability of USM that are associated. Now what are the pros? That is precise machining of brittle material, like making tiny holes of 0.3 millimeter, does not produce electrical, thermal, chemical damages because it removes material mechanically. And what are the cons? That is low material removal rate, basically, or you can say typically 0.8 centimeter cube per minute. So it is very low material removal rate is occurring in this particular process. And tool wear rapidly, machining area and depth are very much limited. Now we are going to have a look for the advantages of ultrasonic machining. So every process has got some advantages as well as disadvantages. So let's have a brief look in the advantages of USM. It can be used for machining hard, brittle, fragile and non-conductive material. And the most important thing is that no heat is generated in work. Therefore, no significant changes in physical structure of work material is also getting associated. Next, you can go with non-metal because of the poor electrical conductivity that cannot be machined by EDM or ECM. That is electrical discharge machining and electrochemical machining. And we means what I will say, it can be machined very properly by ultrasonic machining for non-metal that are basically poor electrical conductivity. And next it is burn-less and distortion-less process. So distortion occurring in this particular process is quite less with respect to other machining operation. It can be adapted in conjunction with other new technologies. Like if you go for machining with EDM, ECM and ECG, that is the electrochemical grinding. So you can make a collaboration work with the new technology along with ultrasonic machining. Now we are going to discuss about the disadvantages of USM. So what are the disadvantages? As we have already discussed and repeatedly I have also mentioned, that is low material removal rate. Seriously, the removal rate is so low that it is considered as one of the. So this is only one of the most disadvantages of this ultrasonic machining is low material removal rate. Next, it is difficult to drill deep as slurry movement is restricted. So you cannot go for a drip drilling for this particular cases. Next is the tool wear rate is high due to the abrasive particle, and this cannot be controlled, as you know that the entire machining is occurring with the help of abrasive and the slurry that is located in the gap between the tool and the workpiece. Tools are generally made up from brass, tungsten carbide, mild steel or tool steel, which will wear from the action of abrasive grip with a ratio that ranges from 1:1 to 200:1. And the USM can be used only when the abrasive, or you can say when the hardness is more than 45 HRC of the work. So you can see these are the disadvantages of using USM, as well as you can see that these are the restriction that is associated with this particular process. So we cannot ignore the disadvantages or limitation. So we have to be very conscious while selecting the material for performing the non-traditional machining process. If it doesn't get matched with this particular limitation, then we should avoid and we should select some other non-traditional machining process. Now let's have a look for the application. So machining of cavity in electrically non-conductive ceramic, it is one of the application. It is also used to machine fragile components in which otherwise the scrap rate is also high. Next is you can use for multi-step processing for fabrication of silicon nitride, that is for turbine blades. You can also use for machining hard, brittle metallic alloy, semiconductor, glass, ceramic, carbide, etc. And you have to use for machining round, square, irregular shaped holes and surface impression also. As you know, USM has got several applications too. So in the second slide we are going to discuss about the application, that is it is used in machining of dies for wire drawing, punching and blanking operations. Next is USM has been used for precising of dies and for parting of and blanking operations. Now USM is also enable a dentist to drill a hole of any shape on teeth without any pain. So you can see how versatile USM is playing a role in a present industry, because it is helping a dentist to drill a hole of any shape on the teeth, and that is also it is a painless one. Next, ferrite and steel parts. Precision mineral stones can be machined by using USM too. Ultrasonic machining can be used to cut industry or you can say industrial diamonds. So that diamond shape that you are getting today, it can be cut by using ultrasonic machining. Now USM is used for grinding quartz also, glass also, ceramics also. As we have discussed that it can used for machining the hard material also, but at the same time here also we can see it can machine the quartz also, it can machine the glass also, it can also machine the ceramics. Now cutting hole with curved or spiral center line, cutting thread in the glass as well as minerals or metal or ceramics, it can be done. So many things you can do with the help of USM. That is, we can cut hole or we can make a spiral center line and we can cut thread in glass also, minerals also and metal ceramic also. Next, USM can perform machining operation. For example, drilling, grinding, milling on all material which can be treated suitably with the abrasive. If it is not suitable with the abrasive, then the machining cannot be done. But if it is suited, then obviously the machining can be done. Large number of holes of small diameter can be also performed. And the most important thing is that 930 holes with 0.32 millimeter has been reported in the year 1973 by Benedict using a hypodermic needle. So this is obviously one of the interesting things that we came to know about ultrasonic machining. That is 930 holes, and that is also with 0.32 millimeter has been performed by using hypodermic needle, and it was reported by Benedict in the year 1973. So from this particular thing we can come to a conclusion, or we can summarize the entire presentation of ultrasonic USM, that is how USM is generally helping to perform the non-traditional machining process. So if the material is non-conductive of electricity, then you can perform the machining with this particular process. And basically hard materials, ceramic materials are preferred to perform the operation. And since the cutting force involved is very small, the process produces no appreciable stress and heating also. So the material structure remains also unaffected. However, during cutting through a hole, chipping may occur at the exit side of the hole. And to avoid this, the workpiece is made of brittle material. So it is fastened to a base usually made up of glasses. So now we will go for a quiz round, because it is a very interesting for all of you, as well as it will help you to get summarized to know what are the content that you have gone through today's presentation. So let's have a look for the first question. Avoid the answer and just have a look for the question. Which of the following material is not generally machined by USM? Copper, glass, silicon, germanium. Obviously the answer is copper, because copper is not at all preferred for machining or perform machining by USM. Now the second question is, tool in USM is generally made up of, it's very common answer and it is known to you, that is optional glass, ceramic, carbide, steel. The correct answer is steel. Now the next question we are talking about, that is USM can be classified as the following type of non-traditional process. I have already mentioned in my first lecture as well as in the fifth lecture too. That is, what are the options? Let's have a look. Electrical, optical, mechanical chemical. The correct answer is mechanical. And last but not the least, that is increase in volume concentration of abrasive in slurry would affect MRR in the following manner. Should it increase MRR? Should it decrease MRR? Next option is, should it change MRR? And last option is, initially decrease and then increase MRR. The correct option is option 1, that is increased MRR. So thank you all of you for listening the lecture as well as following me up. So please get connected with the channel to follow up all the video lectures about the non-traditional machining. So today we are concluding here for USM, and please follow up the lecture because in the next lecture we are going to discuss about the electric discharge machining. So thank you for watching my video. If you have liked the video, then please subscribe it and like it and share it. Thank you.